Yo YouTube! This is my video for Friday the 22nd of November. I hadn't got a job booked in this morning from yesterday. There was a few jobs that came on yesterday afternoon that I would have done. I was tending to avoid any jobs that take me south. It just doesn't feel like it's a good start to my day if I go south. So really my area for going to in the morning ideally is the northwest, Hull, Grimsby, Leeds, or East Midlands or Birmingham. And if I get jobs to those areas in the morning, then I'm sort of think it's a good start to the day. It doesn't always turn out to be a good day in the end, but that's what I tend to do, rather than going too far north or too far south. Unless, of course, I'm going to go all the way to Scotland and back in one go, in which case that's just one job. That's easy enough to do. So this morning I woke up having had a reasonable sleep, but it wasn't too early. It wasn't too early. It was about 8:30 when I woke up, and I had a look on the feed, and there was some jobs, that I could bid on, but not a lot. There's probably one or two. I stuck a bid on the job that I eventually got, which is going from Boston to Uttoxeter. It's going to a very famous delivery point, small van job. It's about 92 loaded miles, and I got this for £95. Pickup is before 9:30, so I left the house at 9:05, and I'm going to arrive in 10 minutes. This road I'm on now is the A16 heading into Boston. So if you've ever gone to Boston from pretty much anywhere south, you would have used this one road. Right, so I'm going to update you on how a day goes today. There's nothing. Oh yes, there's one thing that comes to mind that I was going to tell you about. I have ordered a new lapel mic. I have used them in the past. I've never found them particularly good, but this time I went a little bit more expensive, and I got one that was wired. So I'm hoping that it being wired, because I don't need to have any aesthetics about it. I'm not on the screen, so I'm hoping being wired will be more reliable. And hopefully, I've gone with a branded name. So I'm hoping that will make a bit of a difference with the audio quality. I think with my new phone, I'm happy with the video quality. So I'm going to go with and try another lapel mic. That will arrive today, and so for next week it'll be available to use. Okay, hope you have a good day. I'll speak to you later. Cheers. Okay, so I am back. I've delivered a couple of boxes to my first drop-off point. I arrived at about 10 to 12, and I was off-site by about 10 past 12. So I didn't have to wait very long. I was in my usual quandary then. Do I head to Stoke from here, from Uttoxeter, or do I head to Derby, or do I head to Lichfield area, or do I stay where I am? So I was sort of caught between all those options. I was bidding on the odd job, but there was really nothing very close to me, and it was all quite small van stuff, so it's not worth a lot of money. So most of the jobs I was bidding on were sort of 35 to 45 minutes away, and they weren't paying a lot of money. And then I got this job, which I'm on my way to now, which was quite good really. I was the only driver anywhere near the area. There was another driver I think driving past at the time, but I still went quite cheap. It's a job that's 2 miles away from where I am. It's about 7 minutes drive, and it's picking up a small van job going to Brierley Hill. The mileage loaded is 40.5 miles, and I bid £45. So I got that pretty quickly. They put it straight through to me without calling me. Obviously, in hindsight, I could have gone probably a bit more expensive, but you never know, do you? When you're in the middle of somewhere like this, it's better to just get a job and get moving than to take those risks sometimes. I reckon I could have got £50 for this quite easily, because I was the only driver that I knew of being around, but I've done that before and not got the jobs. So I'm happy with £45. It's going to be about an hour's job from start to finish, and so that'll be not too bad. Right, I'm about 4 minutes from the pickup, and I'll let you know how this goes when I finished it. Cheers. Hello YouTube. So I've picked up my delivery from Uttoxeter. It is going, as I said, to Brierley Hill. All it is one envelope of documents going to a solicitor. So bearing in mind that's what I'm taking, I think £45 is pretty good for that trip. Because of some traffic, it's going to take me about an hour and a half to get to my destination. I'm going to assume a bit of faffing about at the other end, so I'm going to assume it's going to be 2:45 by the time I'm ready to look for another job, and we shall see what happens. I'll be on £140 for the day, and it'll be 2:45 in the afternoon, and I'll be in quite a busy area, although there'll be a lot of drivers, so it's all to play for, really. It is a Friday, which I suppose is my advantage here. I do want to get back to an area that's not very popular, so I'm going to try and stick it out a bit when I get to Brierley Hill and sort of go for a long job back to the East Anglia area and see if I can get a decent price for it. I'll give myself perhaps 45 minutes of sitting around bidding before I perhaps start going lower. If I have to, I can go see my mum, so I can stay in the area, go back tomorrow morning, or just see my mum go back tonight. So that's another option as well. So at the moment, I'm optimistic that I'll get a third job. I'm not optimistic I'm going to make more than £200 after fuel. I think it'll be less than that today. But it's been a nice day. It's been a lovely winter's day, and I'll let you know how my afternoon pans out. I hope you're having a good day. Cheers. Hello there. So I've dropped off my envelope at Brierley Hill, and I arrived on site at 2:40. Got dropped off and out back in my van by 2:45, and was looking for another job. And I ended up getting exactly the kind of job that I was hoping to get. Although I did go a little bit cheaper than maybe I could have got. But I'll try and talk about that and explain that in a bit more detail now. So first of all, what is the job I got? So the job I got was a small van stroke car job, picking up from Halesowen, going to King's Lynn. It's 130 loaded miles. It's 6 miles away from my drop-off to go to the collection point. About 20 minutes drive to get there. And I bid for that job £100. And I worked that out after I put the bid in as being about 76p per loaded mile. And it really does get me to within an hour of my home. And if, not very far miles wise. So it's probably the closest I would have got home for a very long time at the end of the day. So it's good in that respect. My only kind of slight FOMO about this job is I worked out what would be 80p a mile for this job, and that was £105. So I reckon I could have definitely got £105 for this in hindsight. But you think that, but then if I put that bid on and someone else had got it, I'd have been really disappointed about losing out on that job for that £5. But then I'm thinking, well, realistically, who's going to want to go to King's Lynn at this time of day on a Friday? But there could be someone from the Norwich area, or who wants to get nearer home, or Cambridge area. So it could happen. So I'm gonna my view about this is I'm okay with that in the end, bearing in mind that I'm going to end today with £240 gross. so probably close to £200 net after fuel. And it would have been an easy day, quite a short day, and I will have, although I would have got the bids individually for lower than I could have potentially got them for, I think compared to recent couple of months really, this has been another reasonably good day. So I don't feel that I should have gone lower, although I feel that I could have gone higher and I could have perhaps still won them, but was it worth the risk? And I don't think so. I just don't think in this climate it's worth the risk. It's so hard to win any job that really, realistically, I'm going to have to go at these sort of levels to win jobs. Even if I could get the other 5 or 10 or more for certain jobs, you're not going to know that. You're not going to know that. So that's where I stand. I'm on my way to the pickup point now. I'm 12 minutes away. Really, the time is about just the traffic. The mile, it's 6 miles. It's nothing. It's taking, it's all this congestion that I'm coming across. It's causing the time to be a problem. 130 miles to King's Lynn, probably about 2.5 hours, 3 hours max. So I should be at King's Lynn for about 5:30 or maybe 5:45. Then an hour home, so it'll be about 7 at the latest so I get home, so it'll be a reasonably early night as well. So yeah, so I've got to be happy with that, and I am happy with that outcome. In a different world, I could have bid more. I suppose in a bit different world, I'll be bidding sort of 90p a mile for that job to get me home. So I'd probably lost out on about 20 quid today if I'd gone maximum. But then would I have got the job so I'd done that? And probably the answer is no. But it's those quandaries that drivers find themselves in. Do you go to the pricing that you feel you're worth and the job's worth, or do you go to the pricing that you'll get the job for? Because you're never going to know the counterfactual. Would I have got the job if I'd bid £105, £110 for this? Never going to know. But the thing is, what I do know is in the last 2 months, when I've tried sticking to my pricing, I've been sitting around for an hour or two getting no job, and that isn't fun, and that is quite demoralising. So I suppose going a bit cheaper and getting to work is better than sitting around getting frustrated. And at the bottom of the line is, what matters to me is what do I earn at the end of the day, end of the week, and 240 gross will be enough for me to think it's a good day. So that's the bottom line for me, is what do I earn at the end of the day, at the end of the week. Right, my next video I will try and work out some stats for you before it gets dark, and I'll finish my video on that. Hello there. So I have picked up my small van stroke car job from Halesoing. I got caught up in lots of traffic which was delayed because of the schools letting people out, so I didn't get to pick up point until 3:30, and I picked up a couple of things to go to King's Lynn, I'm guessing from another driver because he had a high vis on, and I don't know what the story is, but obviously this needs to go directly to King's Lynn. I think it must have been at his house, so I don't know why he hasn't taken it or what's happened, but it suits me. In hindsight, because both the shipper and the driver were keen that I went directly to King's Lynn, I think this is probably more of an urgent thing than it was led me to believe on the note, and therefore I could have definitely got more than £100 for this job. I probably could have, in hindsight, now I know what I know now, I've got 130 for this job, £1 a mile, but you don't know these things when you're bidding on a blind auction system. Yeah, you don't know. And I never would have bid 130 with any confidence thinking I'll get the job. Anyway, let's not worry about that. I'm on the M5 at the moment, heading north to go across the north of Birmingham to go eastwards, and this traffic is congested because it's all blocked up heading onto the M6 going north from Birmingham. So I'll be crawling around, hopefully I'll be crawling and rather than stationary on this traffic, until I get around to the M6 heading east, and then there's a bit of a delay towards the north east of Birmingham on the M6, and then I should be clear for the rest of the trip. So it's a 3-hour journey from Halesdale to King's Lynn, although there's a lot of delays because of traffic, so it could be a bit more. And then it's an hour from King's Lynn back to my home. So I've got some stats for you for today and for the week. For today, based on average fuel price of 14.95 pence per mile, today I've driven 298 miles, 298. I will have worked for in the region of 10.5 hours today when I get home, and I will have earned from 3 CX jobs £240, 240. So that was the £95 to go from Boston to Uttoxeter, and then Uttoxeter to Brierley Hill was £45, and then Halesdale to King's Lynn is the £100. So I haven't quite achieved £1 a mile for every mile this trip, and if I had have gone a bit more expensive I probably would have got close to it, but I'm still happy with what I've done today. I've spent today on fuel £44.55, so let's round that up to £45, which means that I've earned today after fuel £195, 195, and so I've got to be pleased with that. It's not quite the 200 level, but it's going to be a shortish day, 10.5 hours home to, back home, and then the end of a week. So I'm okay with that, and let's go to my weekly stats then. So for 3 days work this week, I have worked for a total of 36 hours. I've driven a total of 1,169 miles, 1169. My gross earnings from this week's work is £775, 775, and my fuel costs for this week are £169.70. So effectively £170, 170. So I have earned this week after fuel and tolls, remember that £3 toll, £602, 602. And my average amount earned per mile travelled for the whole of the week has crept up a bit more. It's slowly getting better. 51.52 pence per mile. Remember, that's after taking into account fuel costs. That's my net pence per mile that I've earned after fuel costs. And then my average amount for the 3 days after fuel costs that I've earned is £200.77. So I've made the £200 mark as an average for this week. And then if you take into account business costs and my fuel and how that I've worked for, I've earned an average of £10.06 per hour that I've worked this week. It is still tough on the CX. I'm sort of ticking over. If I can make an average of £200 a day that after fuel, then I'm happy with that. That's kind of where I need to be. I can survive on that. With my PIP, I can survive on that. So that's got to be regarded as being a good week. The problem is, of course, is that it's going to get worse after Christmas. So, and I'm actually quite looking forward to it. Weirdly, I'm quite looking forward to January and February. I won't when I'm in it. I know I won't, but I'm kind of looking forward to the challenge of it, because it's like this big monolith. It's like this it's this monster that's about to jump out in the darkness in January and sort of scare all the self-employed drivers. And I'm aware that it's coming, but I've never actually fought this monster yet. Last year I just completely took the 2 months off, but this month I'm gonna this year, well, next year, January, February, we're gonna have to work. So I'm kind of looking forward to the challenge of it. I think I'm going to regret saying that when it comes to January, February, but at the moment at least, that's where I stand. Right, thank you very much for listening to my video. I hope that you are being successful, however you choose to define that word for yourselves. And I shall next speak to you on Monday. Farewell, friends.